Welcome back. Now we will take a big step all the way to Peru. We leave India in the evening and we are in Peru early morning. And the first project here that is from Activos Mineros SAC, and the title of the project is Lodobricks. Warmly welcome to start your presentation.
In the Peruvian Andes, where mining has shaped the history of the land, Activos Mineros SAC turns liabilities into opportunities. Lodobricks was born from a simple yet powerful idea, transforming the neutralized sludge from acid water treatment into ecological bricks. It is a project that combines science, quality, and innovation to rebuild the environment and foster sustainable development.
We turn waste into a structural solution.
The starting point was a technical challenge. Neutralized sludge was being stored indefinitely. Over time, its accumulation demanded a solution that could turn waste into opportunity. We applied the 5 Whys technique, an essential quality tool to trace the root cause. Why is the sludge stored indefinitely? Because there was no defined alternative for its use. Why was there no alternative? Because there was no technical information providing its viability as a usable material. Why was such information not generated? Because its potential to create value had not been previously explored. Why was it decided to investigate its use? Because tests revealed physical and chemical properties suitable for its transformation into sustainable construction materials. Why transform into Lodobricks? Because processing allowed neutralized waste to become ecological bricks. We then realized that the real problem was not technical but epistemic, a lack of knowledge. Once we understood its nature, we found an opportunity for transformation. That is how Lodobricks was born, because the quality of knowledge is the foundation of all sustainable innovation.
Where some see waste, we see potential.
Lodobricks is developed under the principles of the ISO 9001 quality management system, integrating a process-based approach, risk management, and continuous improvement through the PDCA cycle. Plan. We defined technical, environmental, and traceability objectives, all structured within a risk and process matrix. Do. We produced prototypes using neutralized sludge with no residual acidity. Both the base material and the resulting bricks were validated by Universidad Nacional de Ingeniería, Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú, and Universidad de Ingeniería y Tecnología. Check. SQS Peru certified the physical, chemical, and mechanical stability of the material, ensuring its environmental safety. Act. We designed a roadmap to scale up the process and build the first structure using Lodobricks by 2025.
Quality is not declared, it is demonstrated with data.
Lodobricks contributes to 6 sustainable development goals: industrial innovation, sustainable cities, responsible consumption, climate action, ecosystem protection, and strategic partnerships. Quality has enabled us to transform mining waste into a useful, safe, and measurable product, providing that innovation with traceability can turn sustainability into tangible practice.
Remediation is not just repairing, it's creating value.
When technical knowledge is combined with quality and evidence, sustainable progress emerges. Lodobricks embodies that vision, transforming knowledge into development and waste into value.
Innovating with purpose is building the future.
In the next phase, Activos Mineros will consolidate verifiable indicators that accurately measure the project's impact, reduction of geotechnical risks, efficiency in sludge to brick mass conversion, decrease in final disposal volume, certified mechanical strength and durability. Each indicator forms part of the integrated ISO 9001 management system, ensuring full traceability, process control, and continuous improvements. Lodobricks is not merely a technical project. It represents a culture of quality applied to public innovation. Engineers, economists, environmental specialists, and managers share a common conviction: innovate with evidence, act methodically, and improve with purpose.
Quality is our way of innovating.
Lodobricks demonstrates that quality not only improves processes, it transforms realities. From the Peruvian Andes, we prove that innovation with purpose and management with quality can build sustainable development. Because when quality and innovation come together, waste becomes the future.
Okay, thank you very much. I've seen we've already been joined by the people from the Lodobricks project. I'll start with a first question, and that's regarding the implementation stage of the project. In other words, what we have seen is design development, prototyping, and so on. What's the situation now in view of upscaling, prototyping, and the likes?
Yes, good morning to everyone. From Activos Mineros, we are very proud of being here and thankful for the opportunity to present Lodobricks. As you just asked, the next step for this project is aimed to develop infrastructure that allows us to present the Lodobricks and make them suitable for the communities that we are surrounded by.
So you mean that you would build a facility that has the production capacity to serve the local community, if I may say it like that?
Actually, we are aiming to implement a facility to develop this Lodobricks on site. So that way we can reduce a CO2 footprint of about 60 tons per year. The other way we are aiming to escalate this project is aiming to trade Lodobricks with the communities that are our neighbors or our stakeholders. You know, ANSAC is the only public company in Latin America that does remediation of mine liabilities, that has no responsible. So we have many communities surrounding us, and this sludge that we are treating and when we are changing it to Lodobricks are the result of the acid. This is called dam. So this is sludge that comes as a result of acid water treatment. So as we develop these Lodobricks, we can reduce in about 5 tons of sludge for each 1,000 Lodobricks that we are manufacturing.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from any of the jury members? Yes, Somaya. Rafikant, I'll go with you first, Rafikant, as you were.
No, that's okay. Yeah. So Somi put up her hand first. So Somi, go ahead. Yeah, Somaya, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. So thanks for your presentation. My question is about the life cycle assessment of this product, given that this sludge, they contain some contamination and chemicals. So have you done the whole life cycle analysis for this product? So at the end of its life cycle, what fraction of this bricks will be recycled or recirculated in the material loop, and for the part that will be disposed, does it still carry contamination or kind of chemicals or not? What happens to the end of the life cycle for those bricks?
Yes, Soumya. Definitely, we have run out all the tests that we could run into. So it took about 1 year for us to be pretty sure that these that the Lodo bricks are appropriate for construction purposes. So Milka is gonna tell us the process and the test that we have run into in order to answer your question.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes, in addition, Pablo, we analyze the life cycle of the sludge. We can mention that the sludge is produced not only by us, it's also by many mining companies in Peru. Knowing that, we know the amount of the sludge is very huge. It's the biggest of the amount in Peru. So we previously analyzed the characterization of this sludge with the National University of Engineering in Peru, that is recognized by their studies. So they mentioned that they don't have the potential, the acid potential. So that was the point that because to start this process. So previously we analyzed the physical composition of this material. Then at the end we mentioned and the video also that we made some environmental analysis to prove that in a period of 6 months, this is the Lodo bricks, that is a composition of sludge and other materials, don't contaminate the people that touch this material. So this is my.
My question is about the end of the life cycle for those bricks, okay? So when it comes to the end of their life cycle for the parts that could not be recycled or recirculated in the material loop, does it still carry those contamination and chemicals? So it could be considered as chemical waste or something that could cause hazard for the environment?
No, we are sure that not, because we made that there is an analysis that is called celdas de humedad here in Peru. That is a process of test the material for a period of 6 months. So we are really sure that the Lodo bricks don't contaminate and don't be a dangerous material for the community that is around us.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Yeah, one of the characteristics, at least of this award, is to verify the quality approach, and we did not see any method in producing these bricks or any statistical analysis of the quality characteristics or of the process and so on, or of process control. So that was missing. So maybe in one line, if you could explain or share a slide about what you have done, that will be useful.
Yes, we have all these lines, so we can show you through the screen.
Yeah.
Sorry,
maybe
sorry,
just one.
Sorry, because it's in Spanish, but the whole process has been implemented by a very high standard of quality. So we are aiming here. Just give me 1 minute. I just want to clarify something.
We see some slides, but you'll have to cut it short in the answer on be as specific as possible to the question.
Okay, so if I were to ask you, which was your most important challenge in this project? And how did you overcome? Maybe you could touch upon that slide and that part of the process, rather than show everything, which is not possible right now.
Yes, we have, and we acknowledge that the main challenge we have to come across is the acceptance of communities in order to not regret the Lotto bricks for implementing, for example, any house or any infrastructure that could help them for their a better quality of life. So that's why we are introducing Lotto bricks step by step. We just want to show, to demonstrate by not only by test, by science, but also by using them, that the Lotto bricks are appropriate for building purposes. They are appropriate for using with human infrastructure or constructions. So in that case, we are first of all using them in our own infrastructure. You could see, maybe you could see at the video that we are building right now cabins for civilian cabins in our projects. That's the first step for introducing the Lotto bricks to the community. That way they could, yes.
Thank you. I think time is up, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And that brings us to the next project.
Yes, thank you. And we will continue in Peru. And the next project is Salud, Hospital to Sicanu. And the title of the project is Implementation of Strategies for Humanization of Childbirth at Sikanui Hospital. So please start your presentation.
Welcome to Hospital 2 Sicuani of Salud. I am Dr. Miguel Ángel Mamani Cuevas, Director of the hospital. Our hospital is located in the southeastern area of the Cusco region. It is important to mention that our hospital provides care to an insured population of 480,000 people. For the past 5 years, we have not reported any cases of maternal or neonatal mortality. For this reason, the Humanized Vertical Birth Project has been implemented at Hospital 2 Salud Sicuani. This initiative was born out of our concern, as we noticed that the number of new pregnant women attending their prenatal checkups at our facility did not match the number who came back to give birth. When we started talking to them, women told us about their fears. Mainly that they might not receive timely care and that during emergencies they wouldn't be allowed to have their relatives with them, having to go through labor completely alone. They were also concerned that our facility might not always have a full medical team available, such as anesthesiologists or gynecologists, who could respond in case of an obstetric emergency. Likewise, in our Canchis region, women deeply valued their traditions, and they feared that coming to the hospital would mean being stripped of their warm clothing, not being allowed to eat, sit, or change positions, because they heard that in hospitals, women were often forced to lie down during labor. For that reason, our team set the goal of designing a continuous improvement project. The identified problem was the inadequate care of pregnant women at the obstetric center of Hospital 2 Sicuani. with the main objective of strengthening care for both pregnant women and their families. We applied the 7-step problem-solving method, following the technical guidelines for developing improvement projects and applying quality management tools established by the Ministry of Health. Throughout the process, we have the support of our authorities, who officially recognize our thing through a resolution issued by the management of the Cusco Healthcare Network. We use several tools, such as brainstorming, the Ishikawa diagram, and the prioritization matrix, which help us identify the root causes of the problem. In this way, we develop 3 PDSA cycles for continuous improvement and establish an action plan based on the prioritized causes identified. We designed and implemented the following strategies: companion-assisted delivery, allowing the presence of the partner or a chosen family member during pregnancy, labor. Vertical birthing positions such as sitting, standing, squatting, or on all fours. And the physical handling or memorial preservation of the placenta through a placenta print. As a part of our strategies to humanize childbirth, we also decide to revalue the traditional customs and beliefs of the Sicuani region. Here, some patients choose to take their placenta to home to perform traditional rituals. Why do they take it? Because the placenta is an important part of pregnancy. It provides nutrients and oxygen and carries significant genetic material essential for the baby's growth. In cases where they choose not to take it home, we offer them the option to keep a placenta print as a memento. After delivery and once the excess blood is removed, we place the placenta on a sterile field, positioning the umbilical cord at the top. If the family agrees to keep it as a souvenir, we gently press the placenta onto a clean white sheet of paper to capture its shape and outline, creating an image known as the Tree of Life. The umbilical cord forms the trunk, symbolizing what nourishes the baby. We also include the newborn's footprints and birth details such as weight, height, and time of birth, decorating it look like a meaningful keepsake. We also promote skin-to-skin contact with early initiation of breastfeeding. We develop an indicator matrix which yield the following results. 85% of our professional staff were trained in vertical birth with an intercultural approach. We now allow all deliveries to include a family companion, whether it be the husband or a relative chosen by the mother. We have increased the percentage of vertical births to 100% of total deliveries at Hospital 2 Sicuani. We are now below the national average for episiotomy rates at only 10%. Patient satisfaction among women who experience vertical birth reached 75%, strengthening the doctor-patient relationship. We have achieved 100% implementation of intercultural birth practices. The mother's right to be accompanied by a family member of her choice, move freely, eat and drink, stay clothed and warm, choose her birthing position, reject unnecessary episiotomies, maintain skin-to-skin contact with her newborn, and remain together in rooming in care. We also ensure respect for their traditions through the symbolic use of the placenta. The results achieved and the fulfillment of our objectives have ensured the sustainability of this project. The recognition and support from our institutional authorities have been essential. In 2024, Hospital Tusikwani earned first place in the second level of care category during the 10th Salud Benchmarking Conference for Continuous Quality Improvement Projects. Our project has strengthened family bonds. The midwife's care was excellent. She explained the entire birth process and guided through what I need to do.
La atención del
Her attention was very good, quick, patient, and caring. I was present at the time of my wife's delivery, and it was both a very satisfying and deeply emotional experience to be by her side, feeling how she leaned on me for emotional support. I would also like to thank the hospital and the staff for allowing me to enter and be with her during that special moment. We ensure its sustainability, aligning with national and international policies that promote culturally appropriate childbirth and aim to prevent neonatal deaths. Today, our continuous improvement team, Sumak Munay, leads the way in humanized vertical birth within our institution and aims to replicate the project across our health network, fostering an integrated mother-child care system.
Dokaiku esalu sipanipi yankaiku sonkoiku wawami.
Kaipi sikwani, campina wasipi, sonkoikuan cuidaikiku.
En el Hospital 2 de Salud Sicuani.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have some time for questions now. I'm looking if the people from the hospital are there. They should be. Yep. Okay. Any questions? The jury members? Yes, Somaya, go ahead.
Thanks for your presentation. So my question is about the improvement that you mentioned, 90% substantial improvement. But could you also just explain about the baseline? What was the baseline that this 90% improvement was made? Yes. Just to better understand the magnitude of this improvement.
Buen día con todos. En nuestro hospital Sicuani, el promedio de partos que se atendía al mes eran de 2 a 3 partos mensuales. Ello obviamente no correspondía a la realidad, ya que debía ser más del quíntuple o del 100% de lo que deberíamos atender. Es por esa nuestra preocupación, porque sin embargo las gestantes que acudían a atenderse sus controles prenatales en nuestro hospital Era el 100% de nuestras gestantes, todas cumpliendo los 6 controles con sus exámenes de laboratorio, y ese no era el número que se veía reflejado en la atención del parto. Implementando estas estrategias de humanización, como ser la interculturalidad y culturalidad con acompañante, en posición vertical, contacto piel a piel, la disposición de la placenta, entre otros, nos ha permitido cumplir con la meta asignada a nuestro hospital, ¿no? Alcanzándola en el 100% de su totalidad. Y obviamente esto reflejando la mayor satisfacción de nuestras gestantes.
Good morning, everyone. In our hospital, the average number of births attended month used to be only 2 or 3. And this clearly did not reflect the reality, as the number should have been at least 5 times higher, or even more than the 1,000%. Sorry. I was pregnant women in our area came to the hospital for prenatal care, while completing these checkups with a laboratory test. Yet that the number was not reflected in the birth attending facility. By implementing these immunization strategies, such as the practice with a companion, the vertical birth position, the skin-to-skin contact, similar handling of the placenta, among others, we have been able to meet the delivery targets for hospital, reaching 100% patients, and of course, this has resulted in a significant increase in satisfaction among pregnant women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose Carlos, you have a question?
Yes. Thank you, Willie. Well, congratulations on your project. It's interesting how you have a focus on the Sustainable Development Goal on good health and well-being. And my question is, if you have standardized these best practices and methodologies, and do you have any plan for replicating it to other hospitals of the National Health Network of Salud in other areas of your country, as well as maybe other areas in Los Andes region?
A short answer, please, in view of time.
Sí, ya que nuestro proyecto está basado en la interculturalidad, entonces a nivel nacional tenemos una diversidad de culturas. Ello nos llevó a implementar nuestras estrategias, que era el parto con acompañante, el parto en posición vertical, que es parada, sentada, tirada, de rodillas o de cuclillas, la disposición de placenta, el contacto piel a piel, ¿no? Si nos basamos en ello, de respetar la interculturalidad, nuestro proyecto básicamente se centró en la capacitación del personal de salud. Capacitación y sensibilización del personal de salud. O sea, tenemos que sensibilizar al personal que va a atender y respetar estas culturas a nivel nacional. Entonces, contamos también con guías de atención de la salud materna. Estas guías, que es la ciencia de la salud, más la interculturalidad y el respeto de las tradiciones unidas, sensibilizados y capacitados al personal, hace fácilmente replicar el proyecto. Tenemos profesionales, obstetras, ginecólogos altamente capacitados en este tema de las posiciones verticales, que pueden, sin generar alto costo a la institución, hacer la réplica también en sus establecimientos de salud a nivel nacional. Entonces, sin generar grandes costos. Es por ello que actualmente ya se está haciendo la réplica a nivel nacional.
So Carlos, if you could quickly summarize the answer, because in view of time, we need to move on.
Yeah. She was summarizing the methods and the best practices, and she said that there have been some guidelines already proposed, and this is based on the intercultural requirements. It's included in the guidelines and makes it easy to replicate to other hospitals.
Okay, thank you all very much, and thanks again. And time to move on to the
Yes, time for the last presentation for today. Before starting, I just would like to remind you that after this presentation, we will have a short break, and then we will listen to a very interesting keynote speaker, while the judges are making the final decision. So after the keynote speaker, in the end, we will also get the result from this year's competition. But now over to the last presentation. That is from Registro Nacional de Identificación Estado Civil in Peru. And the name of the project is Automation of Civilian Register in Peruvian Consulates. So thank you. Let's start your presentation.
Thousands of Peruvians build their lives far from home. They are born abroad, they make families, and sadly they also pass away. Until recently, recording these vital events was a slow manual process, full of risks for their identities. A procedure that could take 30 days or more, forcing them to travel or to face many corrections. But this reality was about to change.
The project aims to automate civil registers in the Peruvian consulates. Approximately 115 consular registration offices worldwide will capture and store information through a new technological and operational strategy for the registration of births, marriages, deaths, and civil status modifying acts, among other registration procedures. It highlights online data validation and information availability, enabling the issuance of certified copies of registration records through the integrated civil registry and microform system implemented in the consulates.
Due to the interinstitutional cooperation agreement between the Registro Nacional de Identificación y Estado Civil and the Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores, signed on March 23, 2018, working meetings began to establish the agenda to be developed. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, activities were halted because of the restrictions established at the national and international levels. Subsequently, RENIC resumed the working meetings under virtual conditions to develop the activity agenda and formed a work team to begin project management in April 2022. The first implementation was at the Patterson Consular Office, which was completed in December 2022.
Civil records in most consular offices worldwide are not integrated, creating a high probability of lost, manipulated, or erroneous registration records. This affects the identity of fellow citizens residing in another country. Likewise, it can lead to duplicated information and, ultimately, high time and cost in administrative, judicial, or notarial processes for the correction of their registration records. This problem previously required traveling to their place of origin to rectify data and obtain an updated certified copy.
The stages for the project development were carried out in accordance with the procedure established in the Innovation Management Directives and Project Management of RENIC. Likewise, the improvement team was formed, and we used and applied these procedural methodologies and quality tools such as brainstorming and the Ishikawa diagram. The purpose was to identify and perform a situational analysis of the environment to determine the causes of the problem. Subsequently, the stages for project management were carried out. Initiation. We defined the initial scope. We identified the stakeholders. Initial financial resources were provided to the project manager. The stakeholders' expectations were aligned with the main purpose of the project. The final documents were the project charter, stakeholder matrix, and requirements matrix. Planning. We outlined the line of action or route to successfully complete the project and develop the document containing the actions, which is the project management plan and the project baseline, the work breakdown structure and schedule, in addition to the assignment of responsibilities. Execution, monitoring, and control. We carried out the activities and tasks established in the planning, which were recorded in the progress reports and updates, thus fulfilling project direction. Likewise, we supervised the project's progress and performance. When deviations were identified, changes to the planning were implemented, incorporating corrective and preventive actions. Communication was very important. Project closure. A meeting was held for project acceptance and the completion of the established activities, recorded in the project acceptance and closure form. The project implementation did not require an additional budget. The institution's own resources were used, meaning the already contracted human resources from the Office of Information Technology and the Directorate of Civil Registry. The project was designed and developed using 12,280 man-hours.
Currently, the implementation process has 3 stages: the pre-implementation stage, the implementation stage, and the post-implementation stage. In the pre-implementation stage, we handle requests from the Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores, who determine which consulates to implement. User accesses are created, and configurations are performed remotely on the PCs of these consular offices. In the implementation stage, we connect remotely and conduct training for the consular officials on the use of the system. In the post-implementation stage, we address inquiries from consular officials through various channels such as IP phone, email, or mobile phone. To carry out the implementation of this system, we have had to adapt to the working hours of each consulate, according to their local reality. A special case is Milan, where we have a 7-hour time difference.
A simultaneous application had to be developed, similar to the civil registry system already created for municipalities in Peru. This new version incorporated modifications and variations according to the specific needs of consulates worldwide. In my experience with this team, this was particularly evident during the implementation of the Patterson consulate system, where several adjustments were made to improve access and optimize the procedures for using this tool in consulates at the international level.
A monumental step forward. The project has recorded over 9,766 automated birth, marriage, and death registration records, a figure that increases daily, generating significant benefits. Secure information interoperability. Nowadays, 49 Peruvian consular offices worldwide have been automated. In countries such as the United States of America, Italy, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Bolivia, Mexico, El Salvador, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Chile, Costa Rica, among others. It reduces potential data errors in registration records by 35% and allows for 100% data validation by comparing new records being generated online with those already in our database. This prevents duplication. This benefits both the citizen and the Peruvian state, reducing the time to register a record manually by 40%. Why? Because they no longer have to be filled out by hand. Previously, they had to be made in 2 copies. Now, everything is done online using the Iaq civil registry system, enabling faster citizen service with a 95% satisfaction rate. Also, the registration records are digitized and stored on secure media carriers, complying with the ISO 9001 quality standard and the ISO 27001 information security standard.
Its importance in terms of sustainable development is that it is replicable and sustainable over time. Iaq, with the aim of improving services for citizens, has been implementing business strategies focused on achieving information interconnection and interoperability, thereby providing Peruvian citizens with agile, simplified, and virtual services. In this regard, it is important to note that the automation of civil registry offices operating within municipalities nationwide has been implemented. To date, more than 2,000 automated registry offices have been established, offering online and interoperable services. The project was institutionalized through the signing of the Interinstitutional Collaboration Agreement between the National Registry of Identification and Civil Status and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on March 23, 2018. Iaq, through the institutional strategic objectives set forth in its current strategic plan, has developed specific actions aimed at implementing the automation of civil registries. For example, its first institutional strategic objective is to improve the quality of identification and civil registry services through simplified and integrated access for the benefit of the population.
Okay, thank you very much. I see that the team has gathered there to answer questions. Anyone with an opening question? Okay.
You can go with the first question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So thanks for your presentation. My question is about the environmental footprint of this automation. So as the registry process transitioned from the papers to the digital formats, did you establish any structure to assess the environmental footprint, the improvements to the environmental footprint of the process that has been achieved through these new processes, and also the new resources, your energy demand that is required for the process? Have you placed any structure to make an assessment of the environmental impact of this new transition?
Yes. At first, thank you so much for bringing us the opportunity to show us this big effort of this team. So let me know you that this project reduced the footprint because we don't use more paper. Where we can go, we don't use more paper, and also we can reduce all the impacts around this. For example, we don't need transport the paper, and we don't make more cost about that. And finally, we bring the people, the Peruvian citizens around the world, the opportunity that take their paper documents in everywhere. That they don't have to move in another place in order to obtain their acts or registries.
Yeah, so is there any system to measure this impact in numbers so you would be able to track the progress or make any improvements as you move forward with this new initiative?
Well, yes, we are growing in this effort. So in 2022, we made 21 registers. That's where we start the project. So now in 2025, we made 8,500 of registries. So we are growing so fast in the service for the citizen, and also reducing the footprint and the impact in the environment.
Thank you.
Okay, Ravikant, one final question and a short answer, please, in view of time.
Yes. So it's a quick question. You mentioned 8,000 registrations recently. So what proportion is this 8,000 of the total residents, either abroad or obviously one can't talk about potential, but currently estimated, what proportion has already been have been converted into a digital platform?
Well, this is a very good question, because now we are in the half of the way. We have 115 officers in the world about the consulates, Peruvian consulates in the world, and now we have 54 covered. So we are growing so fast, but in responsibly way, because at the first time we grew in America because the time zone is very similar than Peru. But now we are growing to Europe in order to employ a team that brings support as legal and technical to this part of the world. And then we are going to grow to Asia in order to cover all the time with this team. So in that effort, we are going to take the other half of the officers, the consulate officers in the world.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll need to break up the discussion. Thank you very much. We'll now have a break, and then there'll be a keynote speech. So everybody, welcome to that keynote speech in about 10 minutes.
Yes, welcome back. Now it's time for today's keynote speaker, and that is Coro Strandberg from Canada, President for Strandberg Consulting and Chair Canadian Purpose Economy Project. Coro is a recognized Canadian leader in ESG, purpose and sustainability, with over 40 years of experience advising businesses, industry association and governments on strategies to advance a sustainable future. Please, Caro, very welcome here. I'm very curious to listen to your presentation.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and congratulations to the Sustainability Award winners. When I was contacted about the opportunity of making this presentation, I thought of it as a thought experiment in that I'd never really put my mind to how quality can enable purpose in an organization, and in so doing, put organizations on a path to create a better world. So I was really delighted for this opportunity, and I was surprised with what I found in looking into this question. In my 40 years of advising organizations on sustainability, I've seen quality management create conditions for sustainability in organizations, starting with ISO 9000 and then 14001. And when I was starting out advising organizations on sustainability back in the day, as many of us did, we turned to quality management principles to understand how can we actually embed and unlock sustainability in organizations. And so that got me thinking, is now the time for the great leap forward for the quality management profession to think about how it can go beyond those very important management systems to consider how can quality management play a fundamental and critical role in accelerating purpose in organizations. As mentioned, I'm the chair of the Canadian Purpose Economy Project. I'll say a little bit about us. And we define a social purpose business, or you could say organization, as one whose reason for being is to create a better world. We have many other ways of defining social purpose in business, and they're on the screen here. But basically, social purpose businesses unlock all of their enterprise capabilities, their talents, their resources, their partnerships and influence in pursuit of their purpose. And then this social purpose acts as the company's North Star, helping it steer and navigate through turbulent times, such as those that we're in, and mobilizing employees and stakeholders around it. I would say this type of organization. Somebody's jumping in here. All right. I was saying this type of organization doesn't just manage employees and stakeholders, but mobilizes their employees and stakeholders to help them achieve their purpose. Our vision at the Canadian Purpose Economy Project is that by 2030, 1/4 of Canadian businesses are adopting, disclosing, and authentically embedding a social purpose across their operations and relationships, and collaborating with others to achieve it. We believe that this will then be the tipping point when social purpose business becomes the norm. Our idea is to transform business model logic from a sole focus on profits to a focus on purpose, where profits enable and drive the purpose, and of course are still essential to that. And we have, through years of consultation, we developed this formula for how we might create the enabling environment, the conditions whereby social purpose becomes the norm. I'm not going to speak to all of these, although I'm happy afterwards to say more to any of you about our organization if that's of interest. But our ambition is headed towards creating a purpose economy, which you have to imagine is a very audacious vision. A very audacious ambition, whereby a purpose economy is an economy powered by the pursuit of long-term well-being for all, in which business and regulatory and financial systems foster an equitable, flourishing, resilient future. So that is our grand aim, is to start the seeds of progress as seeds of change to drive towards that purpose economy. Let me say a little bit about more about social purpose business or a social purpose organization by differentiating between mission, vision, and purpose. Starting at the bottom, the purpose is why your business exists or why your organization exists. Your vision is where you're headed in the future, hence vision. And your mission is what your company, your organization does every day to bring your purpose to life. So these are differentiated terms. There's often conflation around these terms. And I invite all of you to think, what is the purpose of your own organization? And have you defined it? If you have, then purpose becomes the fulcrum, the focal point for your organization to structure your strategy through setting a vision, through creating a mission, through making that the context in which strategy is developed and directed towards, to build your culture, a purpose enabling culture, to drive your brand, your values, and your metrics. And all of these things pull together to help the organization realize its purpose. And just a little on how an organization might then define its purpose, we use this naturally a Venn diagram, where on the one hand, the organization considers what does the world need? And on the other hand, who you are, what is your unique superpower, and what do you bring to the table? And where those two intersect is where your purpose can be found. And we use the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which I'm sure are familiar to all of you, as the route by which organizations can understand what does the world need. And of course, these UN SDGs indicates or sets a context in which organizations can prioritize 1, 2, or 3 or more of these. I find on average organizations use about 3 to 5 to prioritize through stakeholder consultation to find out what they can most realistically set their purpose towards. Here's an example of a large Canadian company that sells into US and Asia as well, and they're a meat product company with about 13,000 employees. This is how they defined their purpose. You can see they identified the needs of the world. They are a meat products company, so they're concerned with food security, climate change, and its effect on their operations, animal health, of course, nutrition, a sustainable food system. And what they identified as the assets that they bring to the table is they're Canada's largest value-added meat company. They have leading Canadian brands. They're from farm to fork. They own the value chain of the business, and they have world-class processing plants, and they're creating a high growth market. So they identified their purpose as to, quote, raise the good in food. So that's just an example of how one company has used the SDGs to help frame their purpose. So a little bit more on purpose. Purpose is, as I've said, a company's societal reason to exist. We use the language of social. It could be environmental purpose. It could be a socio-ecological purpose. It could be a sustainable purpose, but it's basically a purpose to create a better world. And it's different from corporate social responsibility or environment social governance or sustainability in that they direct the company towards managing their social and environmental risks and improving their social or environmental performance. So in that sense, purpose being the company's reason to exist, you can see quite readily that CSR and ESG is not that. We would say purpose is the G in ESG, which is to say under governance. So here's some sample social purpose statements from around the world that I've just pulled together because I thought these brands might be familiar to you. BASF, a chemistry company, a chemical producing company, their purpose is to create chemistry for a sustainable future. And Danone, you'd know them as a yogurt brand, perhaps their purpose is to bring health through food to as many people as possible. And Wholesome, the cement company, to build progress for people and the planet. So we have different purpose statements. They look different depending on your industry. And just briefly on the business case for social purpose, there are no longitudinal research studies on how business creates, how purpose creates value over the long term, because this idea of businesses defining their purpose and then bringing it to life in their organization is, relatively speaking, a new phenomenon. However, we have many data points from different more recent studies on why on the benefits businesses are realizing from this pursuit. And here they are at a glance. I would say all in businesses that go this direction experience double the employee engagement, triple the growth, and quadruple the ability for customers, the likelihood for customers to buy from the company, to stay loyal to the company, and to recommend the company to their friends and peers. You might be delighted to see that the ISO itself has created governance for organizations, and in their guideline, in their standard, they have centered purpose as the primary governance principle. So this is an ISO reference that you can all use. At the Canadian Purpose Economy Project, we have conceived of 7 steps by which an organization can develop their purpose and then implement it. And I will show you here. This is where the rubber hits the road, whereby after defining the purpose, the organization would then create a social purpose implementation plan. And here's an example, while Maple Leaf Foods was a publicly traded company, here's an example of a Crown Corporation, a government-owned company, a state-owned company. And this is this company has a social purpose. It's a company that's mandate is to conduct and manage gambling, responsible for the province of British Columbia, where I live. And they have created an integration roadmap for 3 years. This roadmap was adopted by the board of directors. I sat on this company's board for many years. This was adopted by the board, and you can see they've created a scorecard action plan by focus area, looking at business model, governance and leadership, people and culture, and different aspects by which they are bringing their purpose to life. We looked at the state of social purpose in Canada amongst large corporations. For this, we turned to the TSX 60, that's our Toronto Stock Exchange 60, which is an index of 60 large Canadian corporations that are publicly traded. And we found, to our surprise, that 40% of them have a purpose to create a better world. That was a much higher number than we expected. And we found, however, disappointingly, that of the 24, only 4 have explicit board oversight, meaning to say only 4 demonstrated that their board of directors had terms of reference that had the board providing oversight of the social purpose, particularly embedding it in strategy and culture and assigning it to the governance committee for detailed review. I have a note here about global results. Our research was a primary research study. We then looked at secondary research and found that about 40% of UK companies listed on the FTSE 300 have a social purpose, and 40% of Australian companies listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, 40% of those 100 companies have a social purpose. And roughly speaking, it looks like in emerging markets, as we would call it, about 40% have a social purpose as well. So there's a considerable take-up of this concept in business. So if our findings in Canada are any indication, it's very possible that these businesses have adopted a societal purpose to create a better world, but perhaps the board is not governing it. And if the board is not governing it, it's likely not embedded in strategy or in the culture or in the organization overall, and it's likely then not a driver of performance for that organization. We see that as being a possible fiduciary risk for boards and organizations if the board doesn't know the purpose of the organization that they're governing, they may not be able to act in the organization's best interest. So we basically see that, and this is where I'm connecting purpose maybe to quality, that purpose needs an operating system. Purpose belongs inside an operational system, and it needs to be built into its policies, its processes, and its audits, rather than being situated outside the organization as branding or philanthropy. Or it perhaps then runs the risk that it becomes purpose washing. You might have heard of greenwashing. Purpose washing is where the organization states that it has a purpose, but is not actually operationalizing it. And so we can perhaps wonder today whether quality managers can help operationalize purpose. And I hope all of you are thinking in your seats or wherever you are that the answer to that might be yes. Here's a couple of examples of businesses that are bringing it to life. And now here's a cooperative. This is Coast Capital. They're a national federal Canadian credit union, which is to say a financial institution. And they have identified their purpose and put it together in this mountaintop, you would say. Their purpose is to build better futures together. And they want to help people and businesses unlock financial opportunities and grow their incomes. And they have a focus on helping people grow their incomes. And here's an example of how this organization created a purpose decision lens. So with this decision lens, they ask whether each decision or activity or initiative helps drive the purpose, and or perhaps is it neutral or even so contra to the purpose? Does it unlock financial opportunities and help people grow their incomes? And if the decision, initiative, or product is purpose neutral or purpose contra, they invite their employees to think, how might this be changed? How can it be renegotiated or adjusted to imagine what if this initiative could drive a better future? And this, to them, is a means for creating innovation in the organization. And here's an example where they applied this purpose decision lens to their product offerings, and they realized that many of their products weren't actually driving purpose. And so they created this product whereby if you use this banking product, this Elevate checking product, that you can then access 13,000 courses for free online. And this is a fundamental part of the value proposition. And they're finding that people who use this product are spending about 8 hours a month on this course platform. Here's another example, Armor Valve. They are a valve producing company obsessed with quality, I might add. And for them, their purpose is to transform infrastructure for a healthy, thriving planet. And they, this is a screenshot from their most recent purpose report. And they have, by functional area, you can see on the left, identify routes by which purpose can be embedded in those functions. And they have plans for how to go beyond that in future years. I'm not going to speak to each one in the interest of time, but it's an example of how they are trying to operationalize purpose through functional engagement. They've also, believe it or not, created a purpose theory of change. You can see in the top left, they have identified the problem that their purpose is directed at, and then how they're going to address the problem by focusing their efforts, the changes they want to see. And by 2050, they hope their purpose will be realized and that their energy and industrial clients will be ensuring a thriving place with affordable, sustainable power and products, fostering an equitable and sustainable, equitable and stable environment. And this organization is a proud, I guess, user of quality management systems, because they fundamentally want to make sure that people who use, businesses that use these and rely on these valve products don't create any safety incidents. So while they have been quality obsessed, today they're building on that tradition of quality to be purpose obsessed. I'm just going to flash this image to you. I'm not going to go into detail again in the interest of time, but Patagonia is a brand, a global brand known by many. They make, they're American company, and they make outdoor apparel for the most part. They're in business to save the planet. And they have created a quality formula you see here, by which they are bringing their purpose to life in how they produce and manufacture their products, from design to manufacture to how the product is used. So purpose is a thread through quality. Now, follow me here. Those were examples of businesses that are defining their purpose to create a better world. But what if we went from this idea of a social purpose business to applying this concept of social purpose, of social benefit, to anything an organizational does? What about any process? What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of a project? What's the purpose of a department? What's the purpose of a decision, of a product? What's the purpose of anything? And if we are answering that question from a societal point of view, you can start to believe then that quality, taking this lens to its work, can stand up purpose across anything in organizational enterprise and help put organizations and society on a path to a sustainable future. But let's go a little further. What about if we apply this idea not just to a business, to anything in organizational pursuit, but what about if we thought about the social purpose of an entire sector or of a profession? What is the social purpose of the chemistry industry? What's the social purpose of cement? What's the social purpose of forestry, of manufacturing, of the HR profession, of the risk management profession? Like, what happens if we applied social purpose to entire sectors? Well, let me introduce to you here the Canadian Standards Association, CSA group. You can do a screen grab here, meaning to say you can scan that on your phone and go right to SPE 116, which is the number of this guidance. I collaborated with them to create guidelines for how industry, sector, and professional associations can bring help their members move forward on ESG, environment, social governance, sustainability, or the Sustainable Development Goals. And within that guidance, you can see number 19 is as part of this benchmark that's being created for global associations, although produced by a Canadian standards group, has in it a set of practices by which an organization consider whether, the association has adopted a social purpose as its reason to exist, and does it encourage its members to adopt a social purpose. Imagine if a sector or profession did that. Then we would have amassed the army to put humanity on a sustainable path. And to me, that's a very exciting vision where we can actually have sectors then start to, by mobilizing their members to adopt a societal purpose and bring it to life, entire sectors can be sectors for good. So we then land again on another page reflecting on quality management and how it turns purpose into action. Businesses often treat purpose, in our experience, as we saw with the TSX 60, they often treat it as an aspirational message rather than an operational imperative. With applying quality management, that can change that by integrating purpose into the core, the fundamental management system of the organization, translating that purpose statement into policies and objectives, requirements, process controls, metrics, and audits. This then would close the gap between stated purpose, and as we can see, roughly 40% of organizations around the world are moving in this direction, but perhaps there's a gap between their statement of this purpose and how this is lived practice in organizations. So perhaps quality managers can be the one to shape the future of purpose in business. And I think as I reflect on it, we need quality managers to help us in this quest. As I've said, in my experience, quality management professionals have always led the way for effective governance and effective operations and delivery. As I reflect in my experience from 9001 to 14001 and subsequent operational management systems. So now the quality management profession is uniquely positioned to turn what we will call social purpose from a slogan into a system. So you can then be ones to hardwire purpose into the way organizations define, measure, and improve quality. And perhaps we can reimagine quality beyond efficiency and sustainability, but as the discipline, the singular discipline that makes purpose real, that makes it auditable, and to continuously better, make it continuously better to improve the world. So perhaps this is the great leap forward, whereby in another 5 years or so, I might be able to join your conversation here to see how you've stepped up to the plate to secure purpose for organizations, to help them consider that they need to know why they exist so that your work can be applied against that purpose. And then you could help operationalize purpose throughout an organization. And as I've said then, help to put humanity on a sustainable course by bringing organizations' influence, reach, and capacity to bring their purpose to life through collaboration with NGOs and governments and academics. And by this collaboration, by directing the organization's enterprise to bring their purpose to life, we can create a sustainable world. But I think only if quality managers join the grand project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cora. Very interesting to listen. I recognize a lot in what you are saying to what we are thinking about and talking about more and more in quality. From a quality perspective, as you probably know, quality is defined as meeting the needs and expectation among customer. And by enlarging the way of looking at customer, we see a very strong correlation between sustainability and quality. First of all, we have understood, or many companies have understood, that customer is not just the end customer, is everyone that is affected by what we are doing, and that brings quality out in the society too. Second, most organizations, I hope every organization, has a purpose that is more than just here and now. It's also about having sustainable success into the future. And that means that future customer is also very important, and future customer in a wider perspective involving society when we talk about future generation. So this become a very logical approach. So if the purpose of an organization is bigger than just here and then we automatically are into sustainable thinking. But one of the big challenges I think today is that we can also see that people, sadly, an organization have got into a more short-term way of looking at things. Here in Europe, I'm coming from Sweden, we can see, for instance, younger generation 5-10 years ago, there was much more thinking long-term and from a sustainability perspective. Now, probably due to the rather unsure global situation, unpredictable world, high speed of change, it's more difficult. And we can see similar in companies, especially when there are some crisis approaches and so on. It's very easy that organization bring into a shorter and shorter perspective in their thinking. How do you think we can handle this situation? How could we keep on looking forward in a situation that we don't know what's really happening tomorrow? We could have politicals that come out with new decisions tomorrow. We know that from the last year that a lot happens very fast. How could we stay long-term thinking and that way bring sustainability closer into our purpose?
Well, sounds like you've given me a very grand questions. So let me see if I can tackle that, which is to say that's actually the role that purpose plays. In that, purpose for an organization is enduring. Like it's enduring, it's the organization's reason to exist. So if it's defined its purpose and then explained what, raise the good in food, that's a very short purpose statement. So you have to explain what that means. you need to, we call that a narrative, but you need to describe how that purpose creates value, for the business, for customers, but also for society. And that's the differentiating factor, is that these purpose statements create value for society, not just business and customers. And I heard you speak to the focus on customers. But that said, these purposes are enduring statements. And with the board governing that purpose, they need to then put their mind to what's the strategy to bring that purpose to life. And then the purpose then gets embedded in the corporate strategy. It gets embedded in executive incentives, metrics, and then into the culture driven in that fashion. But what we find businesses, leaders that are operating under a purpose statement in turbulent times, both through the pandemic and now with the geopolitical environment that we're seeing today, leaders are saying that their purpose acts as their North Star, and it helps them navigate turbulence. It's fundamentally a route to navigating turbulence and to enable agile decision-making. If the employees understand what that purpose is and they're equipped to help bring that purpose to life, and then it enables organizations to make rapid pivots if needed and other things. So it's fundamentally a tool for navigation through challenging times. The other point I would make about the purpose is that is the question, because you talk about shareholder value or financial value. As we find that organizations with a purpose, their relationship to profitability, there are sort of two types. Many businesses are defining these purpose statements because they see it as a route to profitability. And some organizations are defining these statements whereby their purpose transcends profitability. So we have these different sort of types of approaches or logic models in terms of the relationship to purpose, but both of them would, different types would say that purpose isn't the reason, profitability isn't the reason the organization exists, but it's its purpose.
Thank you. Another experience from quality that I think is very important to bring into this discussion, that is what we see historically from a more company perspective, but I think that is reusable when we talk about sustainability. That is, the more we involve people in actions and work that really make a difference, the easier it to get things going on. And we talk about continuous improvement in quality. And if we look at the world-class companies that we are studying, they have actually involved everyone. And everyone is part of improving their daily work, and together with their colleagues improving the processes of an organization. And that is not just something that result in good results and better performance, but it's also build a culture and it build like a meaningfulness for people. If you just go to work to do your work, it's completely different to if you go to work to do your work, but also to improve your work. And I believe that this is something that is very important when we talk about sustainability, environment, and so on. How can we better involve everyone to achieve that? What is your ideas about this? And how, when you work with purpose, it's one thing to work with executive leadership in organizations and so on, but how do we bring this out to people, and how do we involve people in a powerful way? So we build positive energy, commitment, motivation, joy.
I just have to say, +1, or let's just double down on what it is that you just said, but maybe I'll elaborate a little bit from a purpose point of view. What purpose brings to the table for employees is meaning. Because now they have a societal purpose that, they know what it is that they are contributing to. For organizations to really get the benefit of employee engagement around the purpose, aka employee productivity, and employee willingness to recommend to others to come and work there, but to get the benefit of engagement, of course, the purpose has to be part of the culture. And so the organization needs to go, if it's just defined, some organizations, by the way, have an implicit purpose, but they haven't defined it. I think that that's the case for a lot of organizations, but defining it makes it formal. And then what you're what you ought to be doing is educating your employees on that purpose, and
yes,
you could
Actually,
through this
yeah.
process you could turn well, as I said, your employees into customers. You could turn your stakeholders into customers by pursuing this kind of approach. Like, in other words, who's not a customer?
Yeah, what you said here about suppliers, I think, is very, very important, because that's something we can see clearly today. We can see in some of the world-class organizations, we can see that for a long time they had been focusing a lot on supplier loyalty and building strong relations with their suppliers. But most companies have had a rather short-time supplier perspective, pressing prices and so on. But in today's world, when we can see from a European perspective, certainly there are more and more companies moving back their suppliers to Europe, because we are not sure what's happening nowhere at the planet today. And that means that the competition about the suppliers is increasing dramatically. And then it doesn't work to have a purchasing strategy that is about to try to push the suppliers to offer the lowest price. Instead, it's so important to build relations, develop those relations, and build long-time loyalty. And that makes great sense to this too. Everyone is part of this purpose.
Absolutely. And might I add, talking about suppliers, is that businesses tend not to know the purpose of their suppliers. Now, isn't that an interesting question? You could imagine now putting out an RFP where you just ask, what's your website? Where's your organization based, and what's the purpose of your organization? And if the customer, in this case, the customer starts asking the supplier, what is the supplier's purpose? That then becomes a catalyst for suppliers to go figure out what their purpose is so they can answer that question. So just different ways of showing up to amplify and accelerate purpose in organizations. And that's something else that organizations are well equipped to do, is to, if you will, spread the word of the gospel on this idea in business, and look around to see if your if your customers are businesses, can you equip them to adopt a purpose? And then your customer and the business or organization can collaborate on a shared purpose. So if you help your customers have a purpose, if you help your suppliers have a purpose, now we have the shared purpose, and now we're able to really drive progress on it. And that will create value for every organization in the value chain that you bring along.
Yes, I totally agree. Thanks a lot. I wish we had much more time, because this discussion is extremely important. I hope that you can get closer and collaborate with us and be involved in our think tank work and so on, because I see from your presentation it was great to listen to, but there are so many similarities, and I think we have so much to learn from each other. And I think a very important thing is that the different organizations that works for a better future collaborate much more, because that makes it even easier to convince people that don't really see this yet. So thanks a lot. And now I will leave over to Willy, because now I am very curious about the winners of this year's Iaq Ea Quality Sustainability Award.
Willy, are you there? I am here. I just need to find my video. There you go. And now you should be able to see me. And I got the impression from attending the last part, which was like the Q&A, that it was a very interesting keynote speech.
You missed something.
Which is, yeah. Well, we had to work, of course. You see, some people work, Lars.
Yeah.
Yes, well, each year I end this program by announcing the winners. And I must say, I thought back today about 1990, when I attended a seminar by the famous Dr. Deming in Birmingham, UK. And he was talking about a drawing contest for children. And, he was talking about you shouldn't use methods or numerals to evaluate people, and you have to look at statistical variation and so on. And he said in that drawing contest, everybody was happy drawing. And then at the end, they announced the winners. And then a couple of kids were happy and all the others were disappointed. And I want to use that example because there is absolutely no reason to be disappointed. We see that the quality of the projects improves year by year, making it more and more difficult for the jury to select. But of course, all the projects you saw today, these 11 finalists, they all contribute to sustainability. But not only them, actually, in total, there were 70 projects at the very start of the evaluation phase. And these 70 are all winners. Having said that, we had the hard task out of these good projects to select what we thought were the top projects, and we selected 3 projects this year. I will give them in the order that they were presented to you today. It doesn't mean an order of quality, they're all great projects. And here goes. So the projects that are given the 2025 IAQ Quality Sustainability Award are from the companies ZTE Corporation, Larsen & Toubro Limited, and Activos Mineros from Peru. And I think we have representatives from all of these companies online at the moment, I hope, and I would ask the people from ZTE Corporation maybe first to give a short comment on having been selected. I see it is Jiafang Zhao on having been selected as a winner.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, distinguished judges, we are honored to win this award. This honor belongs not only to our team, but to our peers committed to promoting sustainable development through technical innovation. And our project focuses on reliability assurance solution for intelligent start-stop strategies of 5G base stations, which uses quality tools to balance energy saving and equipment reliability. We believe that energy saving should be based on quality reliability. This is not only a technical challenge, but also a quality accompaniment. Thank you for the excellent platform established by IAQ to make quality play an important role in sustainable development. And thank you for the recognition of all the judges. This will inspire us to go forward and build a great future with quality tools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now over to the representative of Larsen & Toubro. I think I saw Mr. Guyan. Yes, there you are.
Good evening, esteemed jury and the fellow participants. On behalf of the Larsen & Toubro Limited, Pithampur, we are truly honored to receive the Global QSA 2025 awards. The recognition reaffirms our belief that engineering excellence and sustainability can and must go hand in hand. Our smart CVG-fired galvanizing system reflects a year of collaborative effort, technical innovations, and a deep commitment to reducing our environmental footprint. We extended our heartfelt thanks to the IAQ jury for your insightful questions and for championing quality and sustainability on a global stage. This award is not a finish line. It's a starting point to do even more and to inspire others in our industry. Thank you once again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, do we have to be Esther? I see them already. You're still on mute, but over to Activos Mineros.
Well, first of all, we will
we just want to thank the organization, thank indeed this award. Activos Mineros is a small company, small public company, but with a huge impact, we believe. We are working so hard, and we actually believe really hard and on our strong purpose. We are working really hard with a young team. These guys are leading these projects. They are working really hard, and they are the future of the remediation, or environmental remediation in Peru. And we are aiming really hardful to achieve these kind of goals, because this is really needed for this planet. We are working really hard in environmental liabilities, but also creating opportunities for mining investment. So this is a great platform for us to show what we are doing from Peru, and we just want to thank you again and say we are really happy for this award. Thank you, Willie, and thank you to all the other organization.
Thank you very much. And with that, I want to hand it over back to Lars for some closing remarks. Lars, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Willie, and thank you all that has participated in this year's award. It's great to see those fine results, and exactly as Willie said, all of you that had participated are winners. All those 70 projects are very, very important. And it's not just important to show what we have been doing, it's important to share those success stories, good examples that shows that it's possible to work for a more sustainable development. Because we believe that it's not just about talking. A lot of people are talking about the need for sustainable development. A lot of is communicated and so on. But we need to work on it, and we need to find ways how to affect those different factors that are behind the UN 70 Sustainability Development Goal. And this competition show what this is about. And all those projects also delivers data into our research programs that is expanding more and more. For every year we get more projects, and over time we can learn more, we can prove more, and hopefully we can also together become more powerful to show that it's possible by a systematic, fact-based, professional work reach those very, very important goals. So thank you all, and I hope that many of you that are listening to this also go back home, start to think about this, and also participate in next year's competition. During the spring, we will go out with information about how to participate in Iaq Quality Sustainability Award 2026. It's a quite easy process. We are focusing on processes, but you can read more about this on our webpage, iaquality.org. We will also be of course, communicating this a lot on social media, especially LinkedIn. So thank you for today, and I look forward to see you next year again.